Squad there.
There he is.
There should be more people.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Gallery, staff, fellow councilors. I'd like to call the regular meeting of council to order Tuesday, June 27th, 2023 at 6 p.m. It's held and transmitted electronically via our temporary council chambers located at 38 George Street in Couch, BC, and streamed on our YouTube channel. First of all, I would like to acknowledge our gathering on the traditional ancestral territories of the Sudak people. Gratitude for being able to live, work, and play as we. Before I start, I'd like to alter the agenda by putting in public input right after adoption of the minutes. And public input will be for any item on the agenda this evening. You're limited to 3 minutes per speaker. If there's time, we will come back to you. 15 minutes total. There will be no questions during public input. That will be at the end for a question period. So just altering that to please some input by some previous participants that wish to speak to items, but had to wait till the question period. We'll see how this goes and then probably amend our council procedure bylaw to include that within our agenda format at the next committee that we'll discuss that. So with that, is there any additions to the agenda? Councilor Oscar.
The only one I have is the community engagement meeting I attended on June 12th. I'll just do a little.
Would you want to see?
Well, do you want it under reports, or is that not counted as a report? What do you think?
It is underneath the community for the October. You can do the report there.
Oh, okay.
Under C, community engagement, session 3, and you can just piggyback. You do it under B, and you can just piggyback on the one that you attended.
Okay, all right, let's do that.
Please.
All right, that's fine.
No addition there, just input.
Okay.
Anyone else? Joseph? Nothing. Nothing? What else? Perfect. You've heard the agenda. Moved by Councilor Frisbee, second by Councilor Sandhu. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes. Minutes of the public hearing, which was held May 23rd, 2023. Any errors or omissions on that? Anyone sees? Moved by Councilor Austin, second by Councilor Bonacca. Those in favor? So your choice.
I was gonna say I wasn't there, so I just if I
You
could
can
say.
set.
Yeah, yeah.
Opposed, if any? That motion carries. And then the minutes of the regular meeting of council held May 23rd, 2023. Errors or omissions there?
Yes. So, error. Part 7, council and committee reports for committee of the whole. I wasn't here, but it says that Councillor Sandhu moved, and it was seconded by Mayor Forrest. Was he here? I didn't see him.
So, well, that is an honest mistake. Honest mistake. You think it was the current mayor?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Did you do that?
I
We'll fix it.
Thank you.
That's fine.
Change the name of the seconder. Is that the only one?
Mhm.
All question, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you. And here we have public input on any of the items that are on the agenda. Any public input tonight? Wait for question period. Yes, I'll speak to it. Nice with your bad lumbar.
Yeah, really. My name is Bill Garrett. I'm from 220 Lake Park Road here in town. And I would like to speak to the matter of the water leak. I have read the report from the CAO. And I must agree that the situation is unwarranted. To address an individual's complaint at a council meeting opens up the doors to a perception of what's the word I'm looking for? Just wrongdoing. It's inappropriate. It's a matter that maybe should have been addressed with administration. Find out some facts as to what has happened in years past. And I can see from that report, there were a number of issues dealt with in the past. The request for forgiveness does not fall within the parameters of existing guidelines. And quite frankly, it should never have been brought up in public. Personally, I think the matter should be struck from the agenda and that it be allowed to die. There is a very serious implication here that if council proceeds with forgiving this one individual on something that is old as it is, retroactive, that they should be looking at going back and dealing with any number of different water leak issues from the past. As I'm aware, there is at least one individual on low income who experienced a water leak some time ago for a bill of several thousands of dollars, and she paid it without complaint. So if you're going to forgive this one, you better go back and look at that one because she's in greater need than this guy. That's all I'll say on this matter.
Appreciate your input tonight. Thank you very much. Further in. Seeing none, we have business arising in unfinished business. Remedial action on 63 Couch Lake Road. That's a verbal, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, indeed. Mr. Mayor, I had an opportunity to talk to the owner last Thursday, and he assured me that the site would be cleaned up, except for pieces of a vehicle which he was trying to get rid of, and he assured me it would be done as soon as he's able to. Not sure if council has had an opportunity to look at it. It looks fairly decent when I last looked at it. But Councilor,
No, Councilor Frisbee.
I think the main issue is the massive RV that's parked there. The vehicle is the issue.
oh, there's another one.
No, just the one that's been there for a couple of years,
Couple of
that
years, yeah.
collapsed, and it's just.
Yeah, that's the one he
absolute
said he's fine.
So this, like, they took away some hot water tanks and stuff like that, but I don't know how far we want to go with that, but that entire building and property is an absolute eyesore. There's trees that shouldn't be where they are. There's RV there. The buildings have been pressure washed. There's no finish to the building. It's a disgrace as the centre of that town. It's the first thing people see. So he took away a bit of scrap, but we need to go much further with this.
Well,
Oh, sorry.
in fairness to the owner, he was given permission from the plant group. And it's valid permit. That was issued to him. So that's, you know,
He
that,
did.
yeah, that was our mistake.
What?
Yeah, he did install them as he was instructed, like those, he was allowed to crack the ground and place them where they are.
I have Councilor Austin and then Councilor Sandy. Councilor Austin, please.
Well, yeah, about the trees and that too. I don't think he actually had permission to do it the way he did. I think he just wanted trees there. They're the wrong trees. But also there's room there and other weeds that need to be cleaned up. I almost want to do it myself. But that is part of the eyesore. It needs to be that, needs to be that. Okay.
Councilor Sandy.
I was just gonna say on the trees, I thought the stuff, it was an issue back when he did plant them and whatnot. There were concerns about him drilling into the cement and whatnot. And so we were kind of going, we weren't, but we were, and I think bylaw going back and forth on that, and we just kind of let it die. But that,
Very good one.
it does look awful, and I think that should be the next step, is to remove those. Clean that up.
Okay, that's an ongoing item, and as I've stated before, this can be a long, complicated process. And we are dealing with some of these things. Bear with us as we continue to try to accommodate, clean out that house.
I think I'd still like to see a actual formal letter to the property owner with that timeline. Because it seems to come up, they appease us for a certain portion of time, and then it comes up again. So I think we need to sit here firmly as this table and say, this is the timeline, this is what needs to be addressed. That's first of all, what I'd like to see.
Appreciate that. I think staff has an idea that we're still concerned about that property. And deal with that as you mentioned. Anyone else? Thank you very much. Under information or consent, Ministry of Housing, Housing and Land Use Policy Division, notification of housing supply and regulations. It's just for information, Mr. Burnett.
Yes, it's not on, obviously, but I'm.
As you know, we have been asked by the province to send a list of brown land that could be utilized for housing. That list was forwarded to the housing minister, our CAO, and we have been placed on the naughty list for not living up to our housing needs assessment. We're not in the top 10, but maybe supply that is required in middle income and lower income housing that was noted in the housing assessment plan, or assessment. But one of the convoluted processes of that was that it was a regional housing assessment, and only municipalities were allocated as in that group that do not meet that requirement. As a regional entity and a regional housing needs assessment, you would think that the outlying electoral areas would be incorporated into that as well. But they chose just to take the municipalities out of there. So that's cumbersome in my opinion. If that was the case, I think we would have been better off to utilize our own housing needs assessment, which is with the town of Cowichan, and then deal with the Ministry of Housing on that note. But hindsight is 20/20. That's why I have corrected that. And with that, if you have any questions or concerns with that, please feel free to reach out to staff. Clarification. Under council and committee reports, we have committee of the whole. And before you read those recommendations, Mr. Frisbee, Councilor Frisbee, I will have to remove myself from 7A. So if I remove myself now, you can deal with that one first. I'm declaring a conflict as I am vice chair of funding entity for the project. And I will yield the chair to the deputy mayor.
Oh, thanks, Brian. Okay. But Councilor Frisbee, you were chairing that meeting. Would you like to read through the recommendations that are on that?
I'm just gonna fire through the whole lot, because I don't believe you did address it, 7A, I think we did it further down, but the committee recommend approval of the Lake Cowichan Fire Department incident report, the amount of $14,265.88. That was carried. The committee recommended that a tripartite protocol agreement be entered into between the Subats First Nation, Town of Lake Cowichan, and the CBRD to be ratified, and that the committee recommended the town also pursue a two-party protocol agreement, Subats due to two parties' connectivity to one another, and that was carried. Just for guidance from staff, do I need to read out motions that were defeated? I don't. The committee recommend that the request for a building permit fees to be waived for the CBRD dressing room improvements at the Cowichan Lake Sports Arena be approved. That was carried. That the committee recommend that Mayor McGonigal be authorised to purchase a local artisan work to be presented to Gate City and Otaki at the upcoming banquet in Otaki, Japan on behalf of the town of Lake Carrollton, and that was carried. I believe that was all, with that, I'll call for the motion to approve these minutes.
Seconder, Councilor Gomaka, any questions?
Just regarding the emergency response. So we said that we bring it back to July's meeting because you weren't in attendance to talk about the wildfire emergency response. Just the process of that, if we had a fire. That's what we talked about. So just going over what the response would be of the town if we have a forest fire, like those type of scenarios and what's in place for the town.
Well, I might as well be upfront on this issue. I'm not the expert when it comes to dealing with emergencies. I've worked with the CBRD. They are the experts. You're training them that, so they should be the ones involved, not me.
Can I just further that then? So if we were in a position where all the highways were closed and we were on our own,
I
then
would be-
you're in charge.
I would be working with the CBRD. Indeed, I would be working in concert on that. It's not okay for me. I wouldn't be able to train you.
It's not about training, it's about just, I think, educating the community on if there was a forest fire, because right now, if we saw a big forest fire, what steps do,
I
what,
would have to call in the CBRD. I'm not, that's not my fault. I can deal with work, I can get stuff done. But when it comes to passing on exactly what has to be done, it's the people in the CBRD who are in that place.
I'm going to jump in here. I did have a discussion with the Sergeant Watson, on this particular issue. And she reassured me that they would be a part of the process of telling the residents, going door to door and just encouraging people on the road of evacuation should there be one. She is working collaboratively with the Emergency Operations Center in the regional district on that. So there is going to be an update from her at our next briefing of the RCMP. So just so you know, there is some background happening now that will come forward for this discussion. Okay. Oh, you're good. Councilor Frisbee, please.
Is there any, as far as their public works staff, is there any training they need in preparation for an emergency?
This would be just basically the fire department, the RCMP, and the public works will take direction.
Okay, so they don't need any prior,
No, they will have to just basically man the streets, directing traffic, but they will be getting those instructions.
We haven't passed those minutes yet, we were just having a question period, so
Councilor Austin.
I was just gonna say all those in favor. I was still finishing on.
Thank you.
We hadn't finished yet.
Perfect.
Is everybody?
Ready?
All those in favor of passing the minutes? Okay,
Great, thank you very much. I will resume as the chair.
you may.
Thank you. Next on the reports of the Cowles Lake Recreation Commission. Sandu, anything
we have no meeting date set.
much? Vancouver Island Regional Library, Mr. Austin.
Thank you. We had a hybrid Zoom meeting June 3rd, from 9:30 till 12:30. I'll just read a little bit from it, that relates to some important things. A third reading was taken for the code of conduct following discussions, as well as a third reading for the revised procedural bylaw. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Much discussion on both to clarify the contents. These are really long, these are 4-hour meetings. And it's very intense. It's very good though. More discussions on the facility master plan review and information that some library buildings are leased. So we would need to factor in rental increases. They aren't all owned outright. Catchment areas were discussed with information that most libraries see more visitors in the summer months with people traveling and requiring computers, etc. And it was suggested that we should add in population growth over the next few years when looking at budget. Discussions were had on using libraries for warming and cooling stations during these extreme weather events. Some members agreed, some did not, as facilities weren't all well equipped with with the equipment needed for those events. And it was suggested that we all check out our vision, mission, and value statement, which I haven't done yet, but I will. The audited financial statements for 2022 were presented. A risk analysis for the level of debt had been checked into, but no risks were found. A virtual reading and conversation with Ruby Barrett, acclaimed queer romance writer, was held on June 20th. This was a free event catered to adult audiences, in line with the Pride Month. And libraries all over BC are celebrating National Indigenous History Month and Pride Month, with several new books available on both subjects and various activities. The Kids Summer Reading Club starts July 4th. Registration open June 20th. And I think you probably saw something about seeds being given out at libraries. They do that in Duncan to encourage people to start gardens and things, but they do not do that at our library at this time. Our next meeting is September 16th. It's either in person or hybrid at 9.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll stay with you for the advisory planning commission.
Thank you. Our next meeting is Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We will be discussing the Cowichan Workforce Housing Strategy, our OCP housing policy, proposed community open house presented a draft of the OCP, intercommunity transportation challenges study, and the regional climate adaptation advisory group, which James attends. That's all on the agenda for this Thursday.
Might I encourage you to also include the housing assessment of the town of Lake Cowichan in your discussion.
I think they did in the last one, I believe so. But the minutes.
Just to align with the OCP and where those
Yeah,
efficiencies might be.
yeah.
Excellent, thank you. Is that concluded?
Yes, thank you.
Any questions on the two reports? Ms. Brooks? Seeing none, we'll move on with New Forest Co-op. Only thing I have to report is the scholarship night. Director Pat Weaver was in attendance on behalf of the New Forest Co-op to give out 3 scholarships to very worthy graduating students. I also attended, but I will speak to that in the news report later on as we move through the agenda. Other reports, Cowichan Valley Regional District meeting is tomorrow, so there is nothing to report on the previous one. Community outreach to Councilor Austin.
Thank you. No meeting until August. Taking a bit of a hiatus.
No meeting until September 14th.
Things go on hiatus. Cowichan Watershed Board?
Not on hiatus.
Not on.
We had our monthly meeting yesterday at the CBRD office. Regarding the weir, there was a brief briefing from Tom Rutherford regarding the ownership licensing process, and there is still ongoing negotiations regarding 3 options. They're still on the table. They're having a leadership meeting on June 30th with Cowichan Tribe, CBRD, Paper Excellence, and the international president of Paper Excellence will be attending. So yesterday they were having a pre-meeting regarding Cowichan Tribes, just preparing for the Friday night. The group is working hard to find out an outcome that ensures a sustainable water future. The 2021 budget that was presented was $20 million. Now the budget is looking at about 28 million. Paper Excellence is curtailing operations starting July 1st for a minimum of 30 days. We've had our monthly language lesson. And I'm not going to embarrass myself, but Tim was really proud of all of us around the table of us trying to pronounce basically going through the door. It's a word, and he used the word, if you're drinking soup, you're slurping. So part of the how to say it, you're slurping. So it's amazing. And we also had a presentation for the Cowichan Estuary Restoration Project from Tom Reed. And this project will restore over 70 hectares of natural estuary and marshlands.
Anything else?
So our next meeting is July 31st.
Questions or comments? I think with that budget increase, that does not include the walkway that was proposed. That is an additional upwards of approximately $3 million. That was one of the public input as to a priority on that community this time, but unfortunately, we will have to look for other options of funding the drives to be incorporated.
Well, and the other comment, concern is Cowichan Tribes has entrusted the federal funds, the 14 million. And the province has not stepped forward yet to give their portion, so the feds won't allow that money to be released at all until the second half of the money is brought to the table. So this is they're shovel ready, but
Financially.
not yet.
Yes, Councillor Bridget.
Probably a good time just to mention, this is the information that a lot of people ask about, and it's that the river will be taken down to 4.5 cubic meters per second as of Friday, which is the lowest level that it can be taken down to. With the hope that that'll get us through to September, so it's being cranked right down to try and get us through these dry months.
Great. Anything else? Okay, staff reports. First one is one of the topics that was brought forward in public input period. That is the utility overage charges. And it's Mr. Fernandez, or that's fine, we've all read it. Bunch of information for you. I'm sure you've all had a chance to look at that. Forward.
I'd actually emailed CAO regarding the March 1st, 2017 invoice adjustment of 172.02. And I'd actually asked if we could see a receipt. But maybe you could explain to what you replied back to me.
Yeah, there was no receipt, it was just an adjustment made to reverse it. To reverse that chart.
Was it reversed or paid?
Reverse.
So was it invoiced initially to the resident?
So,
And did he went and did the paperwork to,
well, that's quite a while, but yeah, I don't even remember. The circumstance. What's on paper.
so would any adjustment then be in the system recorded?
Yeah, that's what I printed and sent.
Yeah. Well, it's here tonight.
Yes.
It's here tonight. We have a name and an address and the amount.
Wish to go that route.
What's another option?
If it's not moved and seconded, then it would die.
Well, I'm going to move.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought this had already been moved and approved.
And then we referred it back to staff for some clarification.
Yeah.
So this has come back for re-discussion, and whatever the will of the table is, we'll move forward with that recommendation. Yes.
And furthermore, so there's no, I guess the whole thing is a recommendation for the CAO, no recommendation for it. Because usually we're presented what.
This is just information that we had asked for clarification on. I appreciate the time that staff has put into this, and I apologize. But I think we need all the information to make an informed, concise decision moving forward. I know it has a minute second, so I'll shut up.
I'm going to move the motion for Donald E. Palmer at 100 Stanley Road, Lake Carleton, BC. To
Whatever you wish.
obviously reimbursed for the amount of $655.80.
Plus, do I have a second? Moved and seconded, so it's on the floor for discussion. And then we'll move forward with that. Any discussion? Councilor Frisbee and then.
Sorry.
Councilor Austin.
Thank you. I'm just gonna say, after reading all this and noting the number of overages at that property, there's no way I can. do this at all. And it is true, if we start doing this for one, after there's been many issues, we're gonna be doing it for everybody. We'll have no money left in the bank. So I could not support that.
Councilor Frisbee. I definitely should speak. Anyone else? So I will speak here. I think it's incumbent on us as elected officials to at least respond to correspondence that we do receive on concerns. It was forwarded as a possibility for forgiveness, which was turned down and then appealed. And then the correspondence was sent to us all. It's not unheard of to waive policies under extraordinary or extenuating circumstances. And with the correspondence received from Mr. Palmer and site visit and clarification in subsequent court, I felt that at least we had a subject for reassessment at this table. You'll note that the adjoining gas station property had a fuel leak and was contaminated in the brownfield. Once that was remediated, it was then found that it had leachate into the residential property of Mr. Palmer, which had to accommodate a new facility. At that time, Mr. Palmer thought that the underlying water supply to the outside ancillary building was decommissioned. There was no outside control within that water line. So he assumed that was announced to him was reconnected in the basement of the house. The leak was not discovered until it was probably much recent. I think that the intent of the water conservation plan and the water metering program was on identification, remediation, conservation. And I think that was the intent of the policy, and it can be waived, but that's not to say that it could be. So with that, I would support the recommendation, but I will certainly appease and whatever direction you take this. Yes.
Just the one that way, it's not reimbursed because he's never paid it.
Yes, thank you. And anyone else? Councilor Blumenauer, anything?
I have that look on my face.
You did. You'll see it on the video.
If I can find the right words. I think residents have to have a way to appeal things, as the report clearly said from the staff that was there, that it was a freak accident. And when Mr. Garrett spoke about the other lady with the high bill and she did pay it, I would have to say, did she know that she could come to and have it disputed? Or did nobody ever tell her that that was an avenue that she could take? So if she wasn't told that she could, of course, she doesn't know when she would pay the whole thing. So I'm torn on this one because I can see that it was not so much the owner that just happened to leave it running because he had a pool or he was gardening and was abusing the water. It was something that was underneath the sidewalk, underneath what should have been decommissioned that led to this. And so I'm torn on that. And I'm just gonna say also that this has been a struggle between council and staff. And I have been trying to be very respectful in our words that have been chosen. And these it's not recommendation, these staff reports I'm finding are not very respectful to staff. And this bothers me. And so I want to just get that off my chest. This to council. Staff brought this forward and has always been, I've gone back in the videos, we've all brought it forward with a lot of respect. And to have things highlighted like code of conduct, etc., and thwarting staff's duties. This needs to stop. And that's all I want to say tonight.
Okay, thank you. Ready for the vote?
There, I didn't,
Yes,
okay, sorry.
all those in favor?
Question was,
It is to forgive the utility overage of Don residents of 100 Stanley Road, in the amount of 600, how much was it? 655 plus interest. Yes.
Why would there be interest if he's not getting reimbursed?
It went on taxes. It went on taxes and then with interest.
Okay, that's clear, Faith? Ready for the question? All those in favor? Opposed? So, Mr. Austin, you would like that noted? Mr. Austin is opposed. Thank you. Director of Finance, statement of financial contribution. Bill.
Thank you. So annually, the Financial Information Act requires that the town submit to the Ministry of Community Sport and Cultural Development by June 30th each year. One copy of the audited financial statements, the statement of financial information approval, management's responsibility for financial reporting, and the schedules of debt, guarantee, and indemnity agreements, remuneration and expenses, covenants agreements, suppliers and goods and services of more than 25,000, and the financial information reporting checklist. So these are attached for council approval.
Looking for a recommendation to that effect. Looking for mover. Approval, moved by Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Sandu. Any discussion on that? Question, yes.
so can I please ask the Director of Finance on page 12, paper copy? And it's to do with the COVID restart grant. And so I believe there's ending balance of $261,708, which was at the end of 2022. And I would just like to know what staff's plan is, basically how much longer will we be using that money for the collect shortfall?
They haven't put a deadline for using it, but the way we've been going is it will only be 1 or 2 years. So
One or two more years
like
for
this year and next year, probably.
to be used for,
Well, not just plaque, but you can use it for computer. So it's gonna be used some of it for new office,
Camera system.
camera system and stuff like that.
There was a number of items that were detailed on what the COVID funds could be utilized for.
Yeah.
And one of them was revenue shortfalls, so that's why it was utilized within, like, when it shut down during COVID. And ongoing, it was for sanitizing, extra hand sanitizers, et cetera, that could be accommodated in that. There's quite a list. I appreciate your question.
And then the question of the concern is that this money, that this table knows where it's going and it's not just gonna sit here and continually be put into class. Because COVID is over, businesses are learning to adjust. And with the bookings at the flat, I don't think that this money should be used for a flat shortfall any further. That's just my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes, thank you, President.
I think with the way the fleet's running at the moment, at a loss every year, I mean, it's bailing us out on that business every year, so we're very lucky that we do have that COVID money to bail out that business, but we've got to turn the corner on this fleet and get it earning money so that we can put it to other use.
Share your comment, thank you. Of the manager, for with some new ideas at a future meeting, I'm sure. Is that it? Questions or comments? So that's been moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed to voting? Motion carries. Thank you. On the bylaws, Mr. Fernandez?
Yes, the permissive exemption for the Legion expires this year. So we do this for, the bylaws enacted every 5 years. And so this is for the 5 years beginning next year. And it's for that portion that's used for recreation. And it's class 8 recreation, not for profit. So that is the exemption that we get for the calendar year 2024 to 2028. And we, council will have to pass this bylaw before the end of October, so it's here for 3 weeks.
Okay, first, second, third reading. Someone like to move that? I believe by Councilor Lunakis, second by Councilor Austin. Discussion on that. Can you tell me what portion that would be, the bottom portion? Not the license.
It's the hall.
Yeah, so it'll be the bottom part that's utilized. So, and I believe they're doing an upgrade in the kitchen there at the moment, so that will be included. Okay. All question? Who those in favor? Opposed to any? Motion carries. And it will come back for adoption next month. It's already. April. Then we have new business, the Cowichan Valley Regional District press release. It's a survey to determine the future of the world's previous largest hockey stick at Cowichan Community Center. Any discussion on that? Councillor Sandu.
Will we put this on our website, Facebook page? So the residents that are on our Facebook page, they can do the survey?
That's council design.
Wish that put on there for Lake Cowichan input.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just direction to staff. Community engagement, I'll let you speak to, oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Bowman.
Just go back a little bit.
Absolutely, back to that one.
This is gonna go on our website. I know it's a news release, but is there any way that we can let residents know though that the cost will be $1 to $3 million?
It's in the
Yeah,
presentation.
if they go in.
It's in the survey.
Yeah.
It's in the news.
Is it like that?
Just that clarification? Good enough?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, that's the community engagement, Councilor Austin. I'll let you speak to the second.
Okay, the second one was June 12th. And it was hosted by Cowichan Housing with Shelley Cook and Elena Patino, along with North Cowichan Mayor Rob Douglas and Mayor Michelle Staples. It was another fully packed 4 hours of discussions with several breakout sessions and roundtable discussions regarding a governance structure for working together on the homelessness issue. It was agreed that we need a shared collaborative master plan with access to current information that we also need to evaluate the various situations in each community. Relationship building, trust, confidentiality, positive communication, consistent information, and clear roles are key to being successful. All the groups working together need to share the same requirements and information. What this means is that if a homeless person leaves one area for another and connects with a community worker in that new area, the worker will then have the information so that they will be able to effectively help them, meaning they will know everything about them, and it's all confidential. So we're working on that. The next meeting will be October 16th. And they're very heavy sessions, but they're very informative and meeting a lot of really great people out there.
So if I may, on the October 16th meeting, that is open to all elected officials. I believe so. So if you wish to attend, we will send an invitation to each of you, and you can see how busy your calendar is, whether you can spare 4 or 5 hours. Okay, that was just for information. Very much. Mayor's report. Quarterly mayor's report. This is for the month ending June 2023. As we near the end of June, we celebrate the accomplishments of the graduating class of 2023 and to graduate Elise Nelson for receiving the Town of Lake Cowichan Scholarship. On behalf of council, we wish you well on your future endeavors. Also to the Lake Cowichan Trailblazer Society for successful grand opening of their trail network in partnership with Mosaic Forest, a great addition and opportunity for hiking, biking, and tourism business. Finally, to the Massachi Group on Father's Day weekend, surpassed the $1 million mark in fundraising for muscular dystrophy research. A huge milestone in the funds support those afflicted with the debilitating neuromuscular disease. I just like to say a great job to all involved. On July 1st, please join us at Central Park to celebrate Canada Day. It'll be from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Many activities are planned. And a special thanks to Councillor Austin for her ongoing organization of this event. Along with the town celebrations, there are a number of similar celebrations in the area to keep you busy and entertained. Sachi Lake for one. The renovation of the town hall is nearing completion, and once done, and we're organized in our facility, we'd like to invite you all to come and have a visit and see what that renovation has done. This will be the first standalone town hall once completed, as we have always shared our operations with other entities in the past, whether it's fire department or other departments. On July 5th, the delegation of 10 students and 7 adults will be traveling to Otaki, Japan after a lengthy hiatus of the program to rekindle the educational cultural exchange, which began 34 years ago in 1989. Those who have participated in the program have lasting memories and friendships which endure distance and time. Summer will see an influx of visitors to our area for our natural beauty and hospitality. Although it can be hectic at times, this is an opportunity for our small business community to prosper and bridge the financial strains of the slower movement. Patience and understanding can go a long way towards building our community pride. On behalf of myself and others on the council, we wish to thank you for your support and to staff for guiding us through our governance. Tim Norval, Mayor of Town of Lake Cowichan. Any questions or comments? One thing I did not put in my report is a recent rash of vandalism that has been occurring within our facilities. Unfortunately, when we have to do maintenance on that, it takes our crews away from other projects, other capital projects that might have had an opportunity to get started or progressed. And I have had a chat with the local sergeant on the issue, and it seems to be a cyclical event. Every 4 or 5 years, there seems to be a group of people that feel the need to deface or destruct public property, and we all pay for it. In the maintenance, it will go on to your taxes, my taxes, and every resident who resides within the town, so. Just a heads up. You see anything, please report vandalism or defaming remarks on buildings to the Clarkson. Anything else? Any notices of motion? We're not seeing any of the beginning. Do you have it now? Question period. For offsite, you can email your questions to general@lakecalhoun.ca. If you're watching online and look at the video and you have a question, please again, email to general@lakecalhoun.ca. You're in attendance, you have a maximum of 3 minutes per speaker. Any questions? Sir? Nothing tonight?
I don't know. Can I say something?
Absolutely.
I thought we were going to mention at the beginning of our meeting that to participate in emailing for questions.
I did forget to do that.
Okay, just came to me now.
I will alter that.
We have to write that on our,
Yes. So if anyone who's chairing next, put it right before
Right.
call to order.
yes, that's a
And
good
then
story.
public input.
I just remembered it now. Oh, here he comes, here he comes.
I should have one simple question, and that is that considering the decision of council tonight to waive those fees, will council be undertaking a review of the policy to take that administrative function away from staff?
I think the intent is to look at the policy as to what was discussed in the implementation of the water conservation plan. And to have better language in there that identifies that it's not within the house, for instance. It's not irrigation systems that we're looking at. It's in-ground water supply systems within the property boundaries. I think
My
we missed
real
that.
concern there is that from looking at the water bill, that large consumption appears to be incurred within a 30-day period. And that in order to resolve it, all he had to do was turn off the valve, which suggests to me someone had to turn him on. I don't consider it a leak. And if you're going to take over the administrative role on those types of matters, then I think that needs to be addressed within policy.
I appreciate that, but I don't think we're taking on the administrative role. We're responding to the concern that was brought to our attention by a resident. And I thought that it at least warranted a second look on the appeal process, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Anything further? Looking for adjournment. Moved by everybody.
Just pick some names.
Meeting adjourned.
We throw it to Lauren, I don't know,
53.
first meeting, right?
Yeah.
We just wanted to get the heck on the ground.
It's pretty safe.